Whew. Hey everybody, it's Bromley here. Today we're going to be talking about the Eraser guy. He's a super scary guy, super scary format player, very annoying to play against, very fun to play as. So, let's get into it. So here's, I think, the most powerful version of the deck. We knew it back in the playtest. We knew it back in, or we knew it when this was released. Void Symbol has a dunk now, and it's pretty incredible. The nice thing about Eraser is that he gets to just put speed on everything and make things uncomfortably fast to begin with. But Reciprocal Burst just becomes huge because you can't block everything he checks out. It's not possible. Especially early. If this guy goes first, he's going to get 2 momentum, and he's going to send a Reciprocal Burst for 1 billion. And he's going to seal all of your answers, and you're going to take 15 probably. It's pretty annoying. I'm not a fan of it. I wish there was something that could protect sealed in the format, because I'm so tired of Erase just like getting rid of my speed resets in general. Not fun. The only answer is to like build super big and hold lows, and even then he comes high with flying thruster kicks for like 8 very easily after the you remember it from our Shigaraki video, the Reciprocal Extend. Reciprocal Extend is so good. What a role player. It always draws a card, and it always makes your next one super fucking fast and super fucking unblockable. So he plays Reciprocal Extend into flying thruster kick, and he's got an 8 high 8. Super easy 8 high 8. And it's very hard to deal with. It's just like, do you have a speed reset? Do you have some way to give this minus speed? And a lot of the resources that do it are like destroys or commits and things like that. And it's just kind of annoying. I'm not a big fan. Anyway, lots of good speed. I think Tape Swing's really important. And once we get Plus Ultra with Tape Swing is going to be just the worst thing ever. I think this deck transitions into playing like 4x Tape Swing once we get Plus Ultra, because then he just plays this guy's block, and then he plays Tape Swing, and then he doubles its damage to 12, and then he uses momentum or whatever, and it's just like, hey bro, catch this 6 damage thing. Do you have a wall cling? Oh, just kidding, it's sealed. But pretty cool. Well, ostensibly, if he's playing Tape Swing and first enhancing with Plus Ultra, he can't exactly seal your wall cling unless it's sealed from earlier in the turn. But anyway, I digress. Anyway, the rest of the attack line is pretty cool. Harden Chop, I think, is really important for this character. It becomes a 6/5 that rips 2 cards out of their hand if they want to block it. And that's really strong. And as a 5 diff, it destroys a face-down foundation, which you get a few of those just in general by coordinating efforts and manly passionate guys and things like that. And then refills it. So let's say you play it on a 5, and then you tap 2. You destroy one of those 2 tapped foundations, and then you get another one. So it's essentially a 4 diff in that sense. Has Breaker 1, just like your Erases do. And it's just a neat little role player that nobody wants to block, because not only is it uncomfortably fast, it's also ripping 2 cards out of their hand. And it's low zone. They don't want to spend their low blocks on that. They want to spend them on Reciprocal Extend or Reciprocal Burst. Binding Kick is just a good attack. If you don't draw your extends, it comes in for 7. 6/7 is pretty good. It draws a card, pretty neat. Tape Swing already went over, Flying 3 already went over, Burst, all that jazz. The attack lineup is pretty straightforward. It's just hella kicks, and then a Tape Swing and some Harden Chops. Eraserhead himself, just kind of annoying. I can't beat it with Shigaraki. It's actually impossible. There's no way to do it, I think. You have to like play 6 or 7 attacks, because all your stuff comes in for printed. And he blocks real well, and he breakers your stuff, and a lot of your stuff is mid. So you have to like consider other, like if you have a format locally where someone's playing Eraserhead, you gotta figure out some way to come at him. Like I think he blocks high pretty poorly. He doesn't want to block with his Reciprocal Burst, so going out at the high zone is probably the best bet in that situation. He's just really obnoxious. He's really tough to go into. And then for the attack, for the foundation lineup, I think Late Riser is a card that a lot of Zos aren't using, and it's really strong. Giving a thing -4 speed or +3 speed is going to be really choice, really key. Mediator is, of course, really good. If you've used Erase You get to refill your hand, but it's always going to be -3 speed, and that's very, very good. Night Watch, I play it too because it's crazy. Tape, it's freaking nuts. Think Fast, really, really strong for the deck for that extra bit of just making it just too fast to block is really important. And Heroic Lineage, I think we shoved this guy at 4 because that card's crazy. It's defense, it's offense when you need it, and Natural Leader, another one that's like another copy of Erase kind of, because you get to turn off something for enhanced step, and then in a pinch it's more speed for your kicks. And in case you had noticed, the entire attack line is kicks except for Ardent Chop and the Tape Swing. But yeah, I like Villains Defeated. I think that people should be playing more of this. Depriving your opponent of momentum is very, very key. If you're playing into Eraser, it's also very, very key to deprive him of momentum, because his late game plan is just to like Reciprocal Burst you for 15 on turn 3 or 4. So depriving him of momentum is really important. Yeah, but that's Void Eraser. I think he's very, very good. He's he can. You want to get down as close to 53 or 50 cards as possible, because you want to be poking on turn 2, and you want to be dunking on turn 3. But yeah, pretty not cool to play into. Moving on to the all eraser list, I think that it's a very different thing. Instead of playing for that early game turn 2 poke, turn 3 dunk, this one's a little more a little slower, right? He's going for the late game staff strike slams, right? It's like you can definitely sideboard this character in your Momo deck, essentially, right? The only thing you really get is Binding Cloth Capture, right? Binding Cloth Capture is such a good like second or third card, right? Like if you draw 2 Binding Cloth Captures and you have a couple late risers in your staging area after a like Expert Flurry or something like that, it comes in for like 7+, and it rips cards out of their hand. It seals another Seal Foundation. It's on it like it's a 3 difficulty or something like that. It's just a really strong card. And then you can start your Staff Strike chains. These are really tough checks, of course. It's tough to get there, right? But you want to do big strings. You want to go hard. I don't think this is like the most effective version of Eraser, but it is a lot of fun because chaining Staff Strikes is dope. It's super dope. And like I said, you can sideboard Eraserhead and 4 Erase into your Momo decks and be able to deal with things that you have trouble with, like Shigaraki or something like that. As far as the attack lineup goes, it's very similar if you've watched the Momo video. I would just run Celebrity Status because you don't have the benefit of the luxury that Momo does, where she gets to just pick up a weapon from her discard pile. So this lets you recycle some of your attacks, right? Binding Cloth Captures, Staff Strikes, Unwavering Slashes, and things like that. Things that you poked early in the turn that you can pick up on draw with things like Unwavering Slash, things like Binding Cloth Assault, and Staff Strike that are drawing cards off the top of your deck. Destined for mainstream success. The big cheese is like you're on an attack and you name attack, and if it's an attack, you draw it, and if it's not an attack, oh hey, I got to see that I'm gonna check a 5. It's a pretty good card. And like I said before, Villains Defeated is really good. Denying momentum is really good. Capturing Evildoers also denies opponents momentum and gets your momentum going. Not that this deck really needs it, but you know, powerful 2 on a few things is pretty important. Yeah, but that's all. All's just like, you know, just cool things. The defense is kind of suspect because all you have is You're So Obvious and then like Specialist of Sound, but you block pretty good and your zones are really, really great. Well, you have It Can't Be Fixed for your high. You just don't build this card unless you're into Danky or something like that, because it's a 1 high block and you want to hold that in your hand. Death Eraser, I think, is the mid-game focused deck. You run a lot of options, right? And your zones are just all over the place, right? You come low, you come high, you come mid. A lot of these cards are just like chaining each other. I think Long Lasting Explosion is a really key player because it just makes like your next high attack really freaking huge. I wanted to try putting Nitro Explosion into something that wasn't Bakugo, and in this deck it's really neat because it's giving some other attack powerful too and removes itself from the card pool. I play 4 copies of Encouragement. I don't know why this is a 3, it should be a 4, because we want to mimic playing Bakugo. Now, why wouldn't I just play Bakugo, you say? Well, because Bakugo doesn't get to seal their phase, and he's not 7 hand size, and he doesn't put 2 speed on things. I think that this attack lineup is really, really dirty. Berserker Blowout is super greedy, but it target destroys a foundation, and they have to like sell out super hard to do something to it. So like, the worst situation I would put myself in, right, is if like I played Berserker Blow and then Evil Gazed it, and you're like, hey bro, block it and I get to destroy one of your foundations. Don't block it and I do 6 to you, and then also I destroy one of your foundations. It's just like kind of rude, and you can easily make it 6/6. Like, it's just good pokes, and this deck, that's what this deck does really well, is poke very hard. I think that Late Riser, again, 4 of should probably be, because a lot of these are combos that we want to put a bunch of damage on. Maybe not. I guess it's just Touch of Decay and Blinding Kick. Yeah, whatever. Naval Laser Beam is probably the big cheese, right? Flip some foundations, give it speed. It comes in like 7 speed by itself, plus Eraserhead, and for 8. Yeah, that's a good poke, and you get to recycle your things. I think that this deck is kind of like churning butter. It doesn't have a true dunk, because that's something that the death symbol kind of lacks. But it pokes extremely efficiently, and it recycles its face downs through the usage of Naval Laser Beam. And so, like, I wouldn't be too afraid of the health costs on like Evil Gaze and Turn to Dust and stuff like that, because you're going to be able to regenerate it through super regeneration and unflipping and such, and so on and so forth. But yeah, Let's Fight Bad Guys, really great card. Turns all your cards into +4 speed with it and an Eraserhead. Just really big poke game. You want to play safe, you want to play efficiently, play like 1-2 pokes a turn, make them super unblockable, build out, next turn go in, same difference. But is it as strong as the all or death list? One thing I will say, if we look at this low block count right here, that is the problem with it. You got to hold every low block, and they're all like 4 of them are this, you know. So if you're gonna play this seriously, I'd find maybe more copies of a low block to play in the deck, like maybe Binding Kick goes up or something like that. I guess you could. Let's go find one. Let's go find a low block on the death symbol, block zone low, my hero. Arrogant Disposition. All right, let's shove that in there. Make sure we're on Death Eraser. Dope. We're gonna shove 4 of this guy in there. Instant Shining Flash has +1 low block. It's not a charge. Damn, these low blocks suck. Second direct swing. Sure, let's play 2, dude. Let's go in. Yeah. All right, there we go. Now we've got hella low blocks. It's been fixed. You said we're a 74 card deck. I said, fuck it. I'll take something out. Yeah, I would mess with this to get the low blocks to be in a right situation. You know, copy this deck and make it better. But yeah, that was a problem with the deck that I was looking at. It blocks mid hella good. I don't think you need too many mid blocks. Somebody's gonna go and do this. But honestly, if I were to recommend a symbol for this character, it'd be Void. Void's just really killer. It's super aggressive and very obnoxious to deal with. But how do you deal with this guy? There are some characters who just can't kill him. Okay, like, you have to defend, and it's very hard to do that, right? If we look at Nomu, let's see this guy, Nomu, for the damage step of the unblocked attack. So he messes with Nomu, right? Because it's during the attack that he can erase them. So if he's going to send a big Recipro Burst, and he just seals Nomu and says, no, you're taking 15 actually. And then he seals Nomu during attacks that he can't block, and then they come in for 5 damage instead of 10. So big scary characters like Nomu and Shigaraki can't really do anything against this character. They have to play like super slow. He's such a huge check to the format. If you're Ida, you respond though, right? You respond after an attack is played. So your thing is definitely getting that speed, and your response is after they play an attack, right? So all your stuff is not during the attack. So he doesn't get touched by this character. Jiro doesn't get touched by this character. Kirishima totally does, but Jiro herself does not get touched by this character. She loves playing into Aizawa, because if he spends cards out of his hand to prevent you from using the enhance, like, whatever, dude, that's fine. Spend cards out of your hand. And that's the big kicker, is that if you force him to spend cards out of his hand and eventually have to commit to draw cards, you can like go deep string, but the problem is that you have to get to the point where you can force him to do that, and it takes a while. So you must defend, and so you have to play picture perfect defense, blocking the mid and high early, blocking low late. It's just really tough to beat this character if your character is touched by erase, right? And so for someone like Nomu, I would recommend having a sideboard option because I don't think you're going to be able to defend efficiently against this character. But otherwise, force him to use his erases, build a big board, and don't tap fucking anything. If you see a big string coming, take damage where you can, and block the important shit. If you can afford to take the damage from Reciprocal Extends, do that. If you have any way to discard his momentum, do that. It's a very strong deck, but there are points of interaction, namely being he puts all of his eggs in the Reciprocal Burst basket, at least until Plus Ultra comes out, and he's super vulnerable if you get rid of his momentum. So, okay, so we need to be able to deal with his super fast Reciprocal Burst Extends later, his strings early, which are gonna be mid or mid high, right? Because it's either gonna be Reciprocal Burst into Flying Duster Kick or Reciprocal Burst. If they're not playing Tape Swings or Heart and Chops, they're probably playing the other Reciprocal card, the 5 mid 5 that can draw 2 cards. So it's either mid into mid high, or if he's playing Reciprocal Burst after Reciprocal Extend, like because he drew it early or something like that, a low, right? But I wouldn't worry about the low attack early. If you have to take 5 to the chin or 7 to the chin, take 7 to the chin. Just like count on him playing Extend into Thruster Kick and being greedy and holding the burst for the third turn. If you can deal with that, you can deal with that. And then on the third turn, if some stuff got through, you gotta be able to block something that is 9 speed low that stuns you 1. Because he's gonna tap his board and he's gonna go all in on this burst. And if you can survive it, you can probably pretty easily backswing him. And that's what I would recommend doing. But yeah, pretty good character. On All and Death, the options are a little simpler. You just gotta be able to pressure him early because those decks are a little bit more measured. They're not as aggressive. If it's a long game plan version of the deck, I would recommend just churning butter. He's got 19 health, and unless he's on death, he's not gonna be able to recover his health. And he blocks mid, so don't toss your mid attacks. Use those to block with, unless it's a setup or something like that, because he's gonna just block with erase and then draw 2 cards eventually. Mid blocks don't do anything against this character. He's so happy to block mid. So use off zones. High is a zone he doesn't block well. If he's on death, you saw low zones pretty tough for that character. But yep, pretty much it. That's it. Thanks for watching the video. If you can, shoot us a subscription, join the Discord, and hit that bell or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know, something like that. See you guys next time.